If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Let's talk about something that pays for itself, and that's growing herbs. Herbs are a very expensive item to purchase at the grocery store in those little, very small ounce-size plastic containers.
Yeah, when you see people buying those herbs, I kind of wonder, like, do they...
You want to slap it out of their hands and say, hey, what are you thinking? Is that what you want to do?
Or I just maybe want to, like, you know, they could adopt me if they have all this extra money to spend on those expensive herbs.
Well, we're going to go over five herbs in which you can be growing on your patio porch or in a container on those items. You can start these from seed, or you can run over to Blue Mel's Landscape and Garden Center. I was there, I guess it was last Wednesday, I guess it was. I don't know. I was there sometime this week. And they have a variety. They're still available. They have tables full of herbs, rosemary, sage, basil, you name it, they've got it. So here are 5 in which we would recommend that you should grow. And then you can dry these if you have too much of it, dehydrate it, and then use it that way. You can also make pesto out of some of these. But number one thing that people say, well, what herbs would you recommend growing in a container? Mint. Mint is very, very invasive.
Yeah, even if you don't want to grow herbs in a container, you want to grow them in your garden, I would say I would keep the mint in a container, small, like little mini raised bed if you want a lot of mint for some reason. Right. But yeah, I would definitely keep that. I could keep the mint in a container. Sherwin
from the forum on weekdays, he was telling me as a child he decided to put some mint in his mother's garden, and his mother wasn't too happy, and it overtook the garden, and he doesn't garden anymore.
No,
that's not the reason why he doesn't, but he learned very early in life that mint is a very invasive.
Where did he get this mint from?
I forget. When I was on the show, March, promoting this program, he was telling me the story. So mint, keep it in a container. And there's a bunch of different kinds of mint. It's not just a one-fit-all. There's several different types of mint. They're all invasive, so you want to be very aware of that. Secondary, I think the most popular herb is basil.
Yeah, basil is definitely very popular, and
it's not just green basil.
No. So there's a lot of different types of basil, surprisingly. So there's lemon basil, lime basil, cinnamon basil, licorice basil, purple. So there's like a purple basil, an Italian large leaf basil. So
that's just some of like 15.
Yeah.
Plus varieties.
And the lemon basil is kind of fun. Like it tastes lemony, but it tastes basil at the same time.
And the licorice basil, it tastes like licorice. What the name is exactly the flavor in which it portrays.
Yeah, so if you don't like licorice, don't grow licorice basil, but if you like lemony...
Or cinnamon basil. Yeah, cinnamon basil. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, so you can have several different containers with several different varieties. And you can start these... We could keep herbs growing in our windowsill all year long. So it's not something that, okay, I can only grow it until October. You could actually grow it inside. Get a good potting mix from Purple Cow. Grow it in a windowsill. Works well. Another one is pretty much parsley. That's kind of a popular one.
Yeah, parsley is popular. People like it in stews and soups, and on many dishes. It can be a garnish. So parsley is definitely with pasta. People eat it with pasta. So parsley is definitely another popular one that you could grow. I think rosemary.
Oh yes.
Especially if you're a cook, and rosemary is really good with chicken and potatoes. I think it's not always necessarily thought about, but it does have, it's got more, I don't want to say woody, but it has like this...
it's a flavor in which ties the dish together.
Yeah, it ties the dish together. I don't think you would just like sprinkle rosemary on a salad, but it's good when you blend it with, or when you combine it with certain things.
And the easiest way, rosemary can take up to 25 to 30 days to germinate. So the best thing is to go to Blue Mel's, pay $3.99 for a nice start, and grow it there, and it'll grow for years. You do have to. There's some issues maybe that we've faced when taking it in the winter and bringing it out in the spring. But some of these, it can be a perennial that can last years. It comes in. Some of these gardeners, you look online, it's this giant shrub, and it's rosemary because it's been there for years. It becomes almost like a tree shrub. So rosemary is a very good one. We like that quite a bit. Oregano is something that we haven't played around with too much. But that is very easily able to grow.
Yeah, it's just kind of like growing basil or any of these herbs. Really, it's pretty easy. So thyme. do you have some time for thyme?
Uh-huh.
Thyme is just like any of these other herbs too. It's just easy to grow, and it just you can combine it with.
And
other,
when you say roast or baked chicken, you think thyme seasoning on it.
Yeah.
It's a nice additional feature to your dish. One that people may not be familiar with that can be grown in in a container, and we're talking a larger container, lemongrass.
Yeah, lemongrass is fun to grow. It's pretty. It smells good. It's used in a lot of Asian dishes. And we make teas out of it. Yeah, we make teas out of it. You dried lemongrass, and it's kind of there's this huge lemongrass bouquet on our kitchen table that Joey provided for me. So it's kind of fun.
Let's talk about lemon balm here.
Yeah, lemon balm is another similar. I don't want to say similar plant to lemongrass, but you can.
The flavor is the same.
It's lemony. Yeah. And you can make teas with that as well. We haven't grown lemon balm in a couple of years.
No, we made lemon balm tea is what we made. You make lemongrass tea, and this can be cold or hot on these teas. It doesn't have to be one temperature.
If you buy lemon tea, if you look at the ingredients, it a lot of times has lemongrass in it, so that's not an uncommon thing.
Okay. What other herbs could people grow that we haven't listed here that you may recommend?
So I would say cilantro. Now, cilantro can be difficult to grow. It can be difficult to get started. It can be difficult
to keep it from going to seed.
Keep it from going to seed. But if you really like cilantro, I would definitely recommend trying to grow it. Maybe you can have some success with it, experiment with it. Just take a container and set that aside for growing cilantro and see what happens when it's 79 cents a stalk at the store. Sometimes you're like...
Or is it a stalk or a sprig or whatever?
Or like a bunch.
A bundle.
Yeah, a bundle. Sometimes you're like, do I really need to grow this?
Yeah.
So that's not one of the expensive herbs.
That would be one that I would say if you're going to grow any of them, don't worry about cilantro. You can play around with it, but commit to, if you just need some for salsa or whatever, spend the 79 cents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And these are the ones that we grow, predominantly we grow in our gardens, in our containers, so that we bought starts this year. We didn't start the seeds. We chose to do starts this year. Lavender is another one that can be difficult. We were able to get 3 lavender plants started. I've got to transplant those or move those into hanging baskets in the kitchen window. I was very pleased with those. Those can be one of the more difficult plants in order to germinate in your own start system. So that's just some of the many herbs in which we would recommend growing in a container. Now, when you're using a container, make sure you have one that has a good amount of potting soil, good amount of material, because you have the little cute 4 or 5 ounce cups. They're going to dry out very, very quickly.
And also, you want to make sure you have drainage holes.
Drainage holes
That's
are
very important too.
Yeah, the more mass of the soil.
And you don't have to grow these outside. We grow a lot of herbs in our windowsill. Yeah, inside.
More mass soil, the slower it will dry out. And you do have to feed these with a all-balanced fertilizer. Thank you for checking out the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. For more, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com for full length in-studio video and podcast replay of Season 1. Season 2 underway and added weekly. Tweet us at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG to be part of the program.